Ray Dunlap.
Let me add to Kimmel's story just a little bit, guys. You know, what an effort it's been for this team to make it to all these races this year. And, of course, Toledo, the final event on the schedule. But I talked with Frank Kimmel earlier today and asked him if he knew anything more about the big picture for next year. And he said there's 3 or 4 different companies that have been talking to him about a sponsorship package. But as of right now, he's got nothing signed. And he said if that doesn't materialize in the next month or 2, then very likely they will turn this team into a driver development deal with one of the Cup teams possibly, because he said he's in a position where they cannot run an entire season next year the way they did it piecemeal week to week in 2008.
Well, Ray, we got a glimpse through the windshield of that 44 Frank Kimmel how bad the sun was already over there, and if Scott Speed's windshield is already sandblasted, and again he's running 3rd right now, so you know that windshield's continuing to get sandblasted. He may have a problem here unless the sun goes down far enough. If the sun goes down, Kenny, he's probably going to be okay.
If it gets down far enough, but it's going to get worse before it gets better.
There you see the lead pack has been caught by that second pack. It's still Tom Hessert the 3rd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Scott Speed, Ricky Carmichael, and Justin Marks, your top 5. Action is slowed once again. Justin Marks in the 0-1 looks as though he may have blown a right front tire and got into the wall. And so the ARCA RE/MAX 250 under caution for the 2nd time today.
Yeah, pretty hard contact with that Toyota, the Construct Core Toyota. You see him right now. He's running in the 5th spot, just riding along here. You can see the thing turn hard right when that right front tire went down,
yeah.
Kenny.
When it drops down like that, it's the most sickening feeling, because there's absolutely nothing you can do as a driver except brace up, and then knowing that when it does hit, you got to work on keeping it up against the outside wall so you don't come back across the track into traffic.
You could see the debris on the windshield of the 46 of Matt Carter. And it, you know, when that tire goes down, that thing drops over, and you saw it took maybe a split second as we got leaders on pit road. Wendy.
Yeah, coming to pit road first will be Ricky Carmichael. They're going to take 4 tires fuel and just grab that tear off. No adjustments from what we had heard, but Ricky had picked up a slight vibration right before that caution, so we are going to keep an eye. Let's hope that that was the tires, and these 4 fresh tires will be good for Ricky Carmichael. Let's head over to Ray.
Godspeed on his way down pit road. He's also going to get pit stop right here, actually pulling away already. Good pit stop for the Red Bull crew. That
You know, we heard Tom Hessert III try to make a deal with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as far as when you come down, we want, you know, to keep drafting partners together. Tom Hessert III stayed on the racetrack.
Yeah, with 31 laps completed, I'm not sure I quite understand that. I'm not. That's a long way into a run.
You know, they may be on a 1 pit stop strategy, and they feel as though they're going to get another caution when they need to make their pit stop a little bit after halfway. But I don't think I could have turned that down, that opportunity to get on pit road under caution here. We know we're over, or at least halfway into the run, Kenny.
Yeah, over halfway. So, and especially with the fuel they went. So, I mean, the yellows that we ran. So I don't know. I kind of question it. But, you know, sometimes it's the move that you don't think it's going to work that winds up getting you up front at the end of these races.
You know, we used to doubt Richie Waters a lot, you know, Kyle Busch's crew chief in the truck series, and just about every time we said he was making a mistake, he ended up winning the race. So we stopped doing that, certainly with Richie. There's our Aaron's lucky dog right there, the 06. Tim Mitchell will get a lap back. He will be back on the lead lap, and that will give us 29 cars right now on the lead lap.
So 29 on the lead lap. That means 29 in the lead pack when we get the green to come back out. Tom Hessert continues to lead at Talladega. Welcome back. ARCA RE/MAX 250 still under caution. They're just getting that 0-1 of Justin Marks up on the tow truck. And they'll take that back behind the wall. A short night for Justin Marks. Let's head back to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. I've caught my breath here. I was a little out of position there. The 2 was not planning on coming in. They said we're not pitting on the radio. Then all of a sudden, Patrick Donahue made the decision. After seeing Justin Marks hit the wall, he said, let's put right side tires on this thing and be careful, be extra safe right now. So I was running down pit road. Wasn't actually in position to see that call, but they did put right sides only for the number 2 for Scott Speed. Jim?
And it was a late call as well for Ricky Stenhouse to come down pit road. It was a matter of if Tom Hessert came or not. They decided to come anyway. They came down, only took on fuel, and a man who climbed on top of the pit box about 5 laps before the caution came out, Ricky Stenhouse's short track owner, Tony Stewart. Stewart, under this caution, has gone through some fuel-saving techniques. Keep it in higher gear. Only pop the gas when you have to under caution. And on your pit stalls, make sure you come in and hit that sign. He's coaching his young driver here. Even if it's a Roush Fenway driver, Tony Stewart wants Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to succeed, and he's on their box right now.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. drove the USAC car for, well, Carl Edwards and then Tony Stewart.
What a fine young man,
Yeah.
too. No, he had a horrendous wreck, Kenny. At Eldora just a couple of weeks ago. Got end over end up on top of the wall into catch fence, and really looked like he was beat up, but he's come back strong here.
I didn't see the wreck, but I heard it was one of those big ones. Big. Yeah, so it's good to have him here.
Speaking of wrecks, let's take another look at what has taken place at this racetrack. That's 0-1, losing the right front tire and hard right turn and into the wall. Speed's coverage of the ARCA RE Series from Talladega is brought to you in part by Aaron's. Everyone is a lucky dog at Aaron's. By Great Cliffs. Walk right in, sit right down. And by Touch of Gray. New Touch of Gray lets you keep some gray hair. Touch of Gray, the generation that swore it would never get old. They're being told, well, we're going to go at least one more time around before we see the green. Lights still on that pace car, so shadows getting a little bit longer here. There aren't lights at Talladega Superspeedway, so we're hearing Logano has come back down there. We see him on pit road. So the 15 has made another stop. Ray Dunlap.
Just to pull the tear off the windshield. That's all they did there. But Joey said on the radio, I can hardly see as we go down the backstretch and enter turn number 3. So they pulled the tear off there. So as you guys were saying, number of drivers not being able to see very well, and that could be a big problem for Scott Speed.
You know, guys, I was looking at one of the NASCAR Craftsman trucks that we'll have here live on Speed tomorrow, and he had just run a little bit and not that much in traffic. His tear-offs blew off as well. And you wouldn't believe how bad that windshield had already been sandblasted, Kenny.
Yeah, it's just all the little stuff from the racetrack and the speedy dry and all that from when they have to put it down. But you know, that stuff, you're running 200 mile an hour through the air and that comes off their tire, it leaves a mark.
And again, it's not glass anymore.
No, it's Lexan.
It's Lexan. It's a different compound.
Yeah, it's just a lot tougher than glass.
But it's
more durable.
But it still will sandblast just like a regular glass windshield will.
Wendy Benarini.
And John West Townley's up to second. If you're wondering how that happened, he started 16th. Now, he had stayed out when everyone came down pit road, but it wasn't on purpose. He missed pit road and therefore missed his chance of coming down pit road. Now, they haven't come back down pit road, so I'm thinking it might have been their strategy. They're very happy with their race car. John West Townley, of course, had an 11th place finish in Daytona earlier in this season, so he knows how to get around these super speedways, hoping to get a top 10, if not a win today, right?
And Phil, you guys were in the booth talking a little bit about wondering on the strategy of the number 1. Why didn't they pit that last time? Well, Dave Liner just said on the radio, there is no way that we can make the distance of this race until we get to lap 40. He said, I had that circled on my information down here, so I had no intentions of pitting before 40, but right after we get past lap 40, we can pit the very next time and be good to go on just one stop.
I think the big question is, can they get to 60?
Right.
Because if they've got to go, you know, right now we've already completed 36 of the 94 laps, but what if we've got a really long green flag run?
They'll be coming down pit road under the green.
Yeah.
If we and the less cars that are out there, the more chances that you're going to have long green runs.
Yeah, we know guys right now can run, you know, at least to probably lap 85 comfortably on fuel, so that's a long time for from 60 to 85, whatever, to be vulnerable. But here's a guy right here that has been very impressive. He ran his first ever stock car race here 1 year ago, qualified 7th, finished 7th for Eddie Sharp Racing and Red Bull, and he's got a bright future. Last week at Lowe's Motor Speedway, got his first legitimate test in a Sprint Cup car, and see Mike Skinner, who's a teammate, running the 84 car. Scott was driving the 82 Red Bull, third Red Bull car here, and hopefully if everything goes well here tomorrow for the 84 car, or Sunday for the 84 car, then Scott will make his Sprint Cup debut at Lowe's Motor Speedway next week in that number 82 Red Bull car. And they've also announced that he's going to jump in that 84, Kenny, for what, 6 of the last 7 racers, or 5 of the last 6 races after he runs that 82 car.
They're definitely grooming him for next season.
And he's doing a fine job in this series, the ARCA REMAX Series point leader. He's got a 50-point lead over Ricky Stenhouse Jr.